Welcome to Chapter 2, where we will deal with the licensing system of Creative Commons. Creative Commons is the most widely used licensing system for the facilitation of a less restricted use of copyright-protected works. To achieve this, the non-profit organization Creative Commons provides a selection of licenses in plain language that stipulate various simple conditions for the free use of materials. This makes it a lot easier to use other people's resources. Anyone can use materials that are available under Creative Commons license, and there are fewer aspects in comparison to the complex rules and far more restricted use under copyright law. With that approach, Creative Commons licensing system follows a completely opposite rule. The Creative Commons licenses are valid internationally and without any geographical limitation. Let's say a teacher decides to make his/her educational materials available to the public. All he/she has to do is select an appropriate license and apply it to his or her own work. Let's face the different licenses. This license permits the use and modification of material, even for commercial purposes, and leaves it up to the user to choose a different license for modified versions of the CC BY licensed material. The only condition is the correct attribution of the work to the creator. This license also permits the use and modification of material, even for commercial purposes. However, there are two conditions to consider. The creator needs to be attributed correctly, and all subsequent modified versions of the material have to be similarly licensed with CC BY SA. This ensures that the contents of the original material continue to be freely accessible, SA share alike. This license permits the use of the material, but only in its original form, meaning that it is not allowed to modify it. ND for no derivatives. Additionally, the usual condition to attribute the creator correctly applies here as well. This license permits the use and modification of material, again based on two conditions. The creator needs to be attributed correctly, and the material cannot be used for any commercial purposes. NC stands for non-commercial. All Creative Commons licenses are based on copyright law, whereas CC0 is a waiver of all copyrights, as well as related and neighboring rights. Authors of creative works can use it to renounce all authorship's rights for their materials. This identification mark signifies that something is part of the public domain. It should not be applied to one's own works, because it signifies that there are no existing authorship rights whatsoever. Hence, there has to be a careful examination to make sure that there are no more legal restrictions to the use of this material in any country worldwide, which proves to be a difficult task in most cases. A look at the different conditions of the 6 Creative Commons licenses already shows that some licenses are more open than others, which implies that they are offering more freedom to the potential users. The illustration shows a ranking of the various licenses on the spectrum of openness. It is starting with public domain the highest degree of openness. And going down to the full copyright protection, symbolized by the American copyright sign. When looking at the criteria for open educational resources that were discussed in Chapter 1, it is easy to see that not all CC licenses are equally suited to create an OER. The ND condition prohibits any kind of modification or combination, violating the revise and remix criteria, so any material with this license cannot be considered an OER. The NC condition also restricts the reuse, because materials with this license cannot be used for commercial purposes, for example publishing and teaching outside the classroom. Consequently, you should stick to the dark green area of the license spectrum when creating truly open educational resources, as there are CC0, CC BY and CC BY SA. As you can see, the choice of the right license model is more than important when developing proper OER material.